All right, welcome. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the tech that's making AI, well, actually smart. We're talking about the engine, the kind of hidden brain that powers the next generation of artificial intelligence, the kind that truly gets context. So let's just dive right in. You ever wonder what really separates a basic chatbot from an AI that just gets you? The answer is this secret brain. And today, we're going to lay out the map and show you exactly what it is. And that secret brain? It's called a knowledge graph. Now, don't let the name throw you off. It's actually a pretty simple idea. Think about your phone's contact list for a second. That's just a bunch of data, right? A knowledge graph is different. It doesn't just know you have contacts. It understands the relationships between them. It knows this person is your boss, who works at this company, and that this other person is your brother, who also happens to be your emergency contact. It's that web of connections that turns random data into real understanding.
And look, this isn't just some theory locked away in a lab. To see how this works in the real world, we're going to look at South Korea, where a whole ecosystem of companies has really mastered this stuff. We're going to break down who the key players are and exactly what they're doing.
You know, to really get a handle on this market, we can pretty much split these innovators into three main groups. You've got the industrial specialists who are applying this tech to the physical world. Think factories and cities. Then you have the AI agent and search experts who are fixing how we find information. And finally, you've got the big tech platforms, the giants who are now selling their powerful internal tools to other businesses.
Okay, so what I think is so cool about this first group is how they take this kind of abstract idea of a knowledge graph and make it super tangible. I mean, they're not just connecting data points on a screen. They're connecting actual factories, power grids, and yeah, entire smart cities.
So let's look at a couple of key players. You've got a company like E8. They build these incredible digital twins, which are basically virtual copies of real-world systems. They can build a model of a whole section of a city to predict and optimize how energy is used. Then there's Cogniva. It's part of LG, and they create knowledge graphs that can monitor every single sensor in a factory to catch problems before they even happen. It's like they're building an industrial nervous system. Now this next group, they're all about fixing our most frustrating digital headaches. They use knowledge graphs to build smarter AI agents and search engines that actually understand what it is we're looking for. Just think about this question for a minute. For any online business, this is a huge deal. A customer searches for something on your website, and they get that horrible no results found page. Poof! That's a lost sale, right there. This is exactly the kind of expensive problem this group is designed to solve.
Let me give you a real-world example. There's a company called Dalpa, and they worked with this e-commerce giant, Curly. Before Dalpa, a failed search was just a dead end. But after they put their knowledge graph in place, the system could understand the user's intent. It could say, hey, we don't have that exact thing, but based on what you're looking for, you might love these other items. That totally transforms a moment of frustration into a new sales opportunity.
So on one side, you have Dalpa, totally zeroed in on e-commerce. And then on the other, you've got Kakao Enterprise, and they're applying the exact same ideas to customer service. They build these conversational AI bots for call centers that understand the relationship between a customer, what they bought, and their current issue. It just leads to way faster, much more accurate solutions. Okay, let's talk about the giants in the room. These are the companies that built these massive, really sophisticated knowledge graphs for their own stuff. Search engines, games, maps, and now they're packaging that power up and offering it as a service to other businesses. So first you have Naver, the search behemoth. They have one of the most comprehensive Korean language knowledge graphs on the planet. I mean, if your business needs to really understand the subtle nuances of the Korean market, their platform is an absolute goldmine. Then, in a totally different universe, you've got the gaming company NSoft. Their knowledge graph gets the crazy complex rules and relationships between characters and items in their huge game worlds. And now, they're offering that simulation power to partners who are building everything from the metaverse to other complex interactive AI. Okay, let's zoom in on one of the most mind-bending applications we've talked about, the digital twin. This is where the knowledge graph stops being just a diagram and becomes a living, breathing, thinking copy of a real-world system. And to see this in action, you don't have to look any further than the huge Sejong Smart City project. 8 is a major player there, and their job is to build a digital twin of the entire city. And we're not just talking about a 3D model. This is a virtual replica that understands how all the city's infrastructure actually works together. So how in the world do they build it? Well, it all starts with creating the brain, a semantic model that defines every single asset and its relationships. This pump is connected to that pipe which serves this building. Step 2, you connect that brain to the real world by streaming in live data from actual sensors. Third, and this is where it gets really cool, you can run simulations. What if there's a heat wave? What if a major water pipe breaks? You can test all these what-if scenarios in the virtual world without any risk. And finally, you use those insights to predict problems and optimize how the real city runs, saving energy, saving money, and maybe even saving lives.
All right, so you see the power here. You might be thinking, wow, this could solve a huge problem for my business, which leads to the obvious next question. How do you even start a conversation with one of these companies? Let's walk through a quick playbook.
Here's a pretty simple 6-step checklist to get you started. First, align your use case. Are you trying to fix search like DALPA or build a digital twin like 8? Make sure their specialty is your problem. Second, check interoperability. You got to know if their system will play nice with yours. Third, ask for references. See who else they've helped in your industry. Fourth, propose a small pilot project. Just dip your toe in the water. Fifth, and this is a big one, get super clear on data and compliance. And finally, especially if you're not local, think about finding a local partner who really knows the landscape.
Okay, we've covered a ton of ground here. We've talked about the what, the knowledge graph. We've talked about the who, the key players in Korea. And we've covered the how, your partnership playbook. So what's the one big idea you should walk away with? It's this, that hidden brain of AI? Well, it's not hidden anymore. This isn't some far-off futuristic research project. It's a real strategic B2B market that's happening right now. You've got established players with proven tech and impressive customers, and they are ready to tackle some of the most complex problems your business is facing today.
And really, that brings us to the final thought. Now that you know this technology isn't just out there, but it's accessible, the question really changes from what is it to what can I do with it? So with an AI that genuinely understands context, what's the first big, nagging, expensive problem that you're going to solve?